Marcus Aurelius is one of the most outstanding Stoic philosophers in history. He ruled as the Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD and was the last of the dynasty known as the Five Good Emperors. During his reign, he held one of the most influential positions in the world and devoted his life to promoting justice and honesty. This is even more admirable considering that he had access to fulfilling all his desires without restrictions. During his reign, Marcus Aurelius found time to write a series of autobiographical texts known today as Meditations, which became one of the most influential works of Stoicism. In these meditations, Aurelius offers advice on self-improvement, adopting a cosmic perspective, and critical analysis of judgments about oneself and others. As the leader of a vast empire that faced multiple military conflicts, Aurelius applied his philosophy to the challenges he encountered. Stoicism is an ancient and highly influential philosophy that is not just a theory, but a deeply inspiring way of thinking and living. Stoics firmly believe that doing the right thing is the foundation for achieving personal happiness, and for this, strong judgment and clear rational thinking are essential. In this video, we will explain how you can develop a rational mind through 5 key lessons, based on the teachings of the Stoics. Lesson number 1, develop virtues. Following the example of Marcus Aurelius, it is important to explore our souls, as they contain the innate source of goodness that can manifest if we strive to develop it. Virtue is understood as the quality of moral excellence, or, simply put, as ethically correct behavior. This type of behavior not only brings personal benefits, but also has a positive impact on others, contributing to the general welfare. Stoicism preaches a view of the world as an interconnected system where every being and element is united by a common link. Thus, what benefits the collective ultimately benefits each individual. Stoics believe that people who act according to reason strive for the common good, and this is where the practice of virtues lies. On the other hand, the absence of virtue in Stoicism is interpreted as a manifestation of ignorance. In times of uncertainty, virtues serve as beacons that guide us on the right path and maintain our stability. Those filled with virtue usually demonstrate calmness and resilience. To integrate virtues into our lives, it is important to learn the 4 main virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. From the Stoic point of view, wisdom means the ability to distinguish between right, wrong, and indifferent, considering all the nuances between them. It means overcoming emotions and allowing reason to guide our moral actions when faced with dilemmas. Wisdom enables us to clearly evaluate alternatives. Justice, which arises from wisdom, is expressed in a commitment to honesty and fairness, both personally and publicly. The Stoics saw justice as a duty owed to society. Courage. The third virtue empowers us to act despite fear, urging us to take actions for the common good or face difficulties regardless of the uncertainty of the outcome. Courage does not mean the absence of fear, desire, or anxiety. It implies a conscious decision to act despite them. Temperance refers to maintaining balance in the face of excess. It represents self-control, restraint, and discipline. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the unique ability of humans for self-regulation, which distinguishes us from animals. This virtue places long-term well-being above immediate pleasures. For example, eating an entire bag of chips may be tempting and satisfying in the moment, but it is harmful to both health and mood. The practice of temperance in this case would mean limiting oneself to just a few pieces. Wisdom is crucial in determining the right amount before applying this restraint. Stoicism categorizes objects and actions into categories of good, evil, and indifferent. Its main principles lie in seeking good and avoiding evil, while maintaining balance with neutral preferences. Deviating from these virtues leads to vices such as theft, contempt, or irrational actions. Actions considered indifferent, such as enjoying a peaceful walk, do not fall under these principles. These virtues not only bring personal benefits, but also contribute to a state of calmness and control. Aligning your actions with these virtues ensures that your behavior remains on the path of righteousness, guided by reason, which in turn cultivates a calm mind. Lesson number 2. Expand your perspective. In Meditations, inspired by Marcus Aurelius, who in turn drew ideas from Plato, the importance of observing from a broader point of view is emphasized. This ability to take a general view is key to achieving mental clarity in the midst of everyday chaos. Often, we get lost in the details and challenges we face, so immersed in them that it seems as if the entire world rests on our shoulders. Imagine yourself in the middle of a dense crowd. It may seem as if the city has come to a standstill because of your position. However, a change in position may reveal a completely different situation. Stepping back and looking at our world and existence from a broader perspective helps us realize how small our personal experiences are and how insignificant we are in the grand scheme of the universe. This shift in perspective opens the door to a more expansive understanding that goes beyond our everyday experiences. We often forget that our experiences and perspectives are not the only ones that matter, even within our own circles of life. For example, take a person who has had bad experiences with dogs. It may be difficult for them to believe that dogs can be loving companions to others until they recognize the diversity of existing experiences. This prejudice will persist until acknowledged. Therefore, from time to time, it is necessary to pause and reflect. What am I missing or not fully understanding? This exercise in self-reflection is extremely useful. For instance, if you are faced with the choice of staying in your current job or accepting a new offer, the decision can be overwhelming, especially if you're unsure of how either option aligns with your long-term goals. While your current job offers stability, the additional responsibilities of a promotion may bring uncertainty. The prospect of a higher salary can be tempting. It is easy to get stuck in this dilemma. However, if you dig a little deeper, you may discover many alternatives you hadn't considered before. Have you thought about changing careers or starting a side project that could enrich your current work? Engaging in a new passion could divert your attention from tasks that you find less interesting. It's quite possible that you are missing out on many opportunities without realizing it. Taking a broader perspective instead of focusing only on current concerns will significantly ease the decision-making process. Expanding your perspective is valuable not only for setting priorities, but also for forming opinions and making judgments with greater empathy. It is important to consider all aspects and possibilities in any situation. Additionally, distancing yourself allows you to temporarily set aside biases and personal points of view. Setting aside your desires for a time can give you a new perspective, forcing you to consider the interests of others and your obligations to them. In the everyday hustle, actions we might consider insignificant, such as littering, may seem trivial. However, by pausing and expanding our perspective to evaluate their impact on the world and their long-term consequences, our perception sharply changes. While individual actions such as littering may seem insignificant, if everyone acts irresponsibly, the accumulated damage to our planet will become undeniably significant. The Stoics emphasize the interconnectedness of everything in the universe, stating that improving the world as a whole contributes to our own well-being. Therefore, embracing a global perspective rather than limiting ourselves to our individual lives is of crucial importance for both understanding and making informed decisions in the face of adversities or significant changes. You have the opportunity to immerse yourself in reflective contemplation. This can occur in the midst of a tense moment or during a period of calm, such as while taking a walk or in a moment of writing, something that Marcus Aurelius strongly encouraged. These moments of self-reflection offer an opportunity to deeply explore your thoughts and actions. Impulsive decisions, like littering, seem trivial until you examine the big picture, recognizing that if everyone acted similarly, you see the importance of resisting this impulse for the common good. The Stoics argued that improving the world as a whole benefits not just our personal circumstances, but also those of the wider community. By adopting a universal point of view, you will always maintain a holistic perspective, freeing yourself from unnecessary limitations, biases, and doubts. Lesson number 3. Master the duality of control. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that your true strength lies in your mind, not in external circumstances. Understand this, and you will fortify your inner self. This concept revolves around the distinction between what we can change and what lies beyond our control. Factors such as the weather, traffic issues, or how others perceive us are beyond our direct influence. However, we can control our behavior, the timing of our tasks, and how we respond to situations. When we face situations that provoke an emotional reaction, it is important to ask ourselves, what can I control here? We must act in areas where we have power and learn to calmly accept what we cannot change. A core aspect of this duality is the Stoic concept of amor fati, or the love of fate. This means embracing life and everything that comes with it, loving our existence without conditions, despite not being able to avoid our fate or choose circumstances beyond our control. For example, if you face rejection from a job you wanted, it might be difficult at first to see the positive side. You had ambition, you tried, but it didn't work out. In that moment, it may be hard to understand how one can love such a fate. However, Stoicism teaches us that even failure can lead to growth and learning. Not achieving a specific goal is not a complete failure, but rather an opportunity to grow and learn from the experience. If you didn't get the job because of some limitations on your part, that's something you can work on and improve. Working on your skills and preparing better for future interviews is one way to control your circumstances. On the other hand, if the rejection was due to factors beyond your control, such as personal preferences or internal policies during the selection process, understanding that this opportunity was never truly within your reach can alleviate the disappointment. Recognizing the limitations of your influence is part of accepting fate. This acceptance also involves letting go of rigid expectations and measuring your success by external standards. For example, if your dream is to become a writer and you judge your success solely by book sales, you allow external and unstable factors to dictate your self-worth. However, if you measure success by your personal satisfaction with your work or the effort you put into it, you regain control over how you evaluate yourself. It is important to strive for goals, but equally important to recognize and accept the possibility of not achieving them. This preemptive acceptance can soften the blow of failure and lead to greater resilience. By focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot, we can achieve inner peace, which remains stable despite life's ups and downs. Lesson number 4. Refine your perception. Marcus Aurelius advises, decide not to be offended, and you won't be. This principle is fundamental in Stoicism, which promotes control over our perception. Often, we automatically judge every situation we encounter and every person we meet, quickly labeling them as good or bad, boring or interesting, attractive or unpleasant. While this tendency to constantly evaluate is often unconscious, it can be exhausting and have a negative impact on our lives. For example, a difficult interaction on a stressful day may seem terrible, but it's our perception that fills this experience with negativity. Similarly, if we label a meeting as boring, this label can color our memory of the entire week. Often, our emotions mix with these judgments, exaggerating them with metaphors or hyperbole that unnecessarily amplify our distress. It's important to recognize and change our perception, avoiding automatic reactions and evaluating our experiences with more objectivity. By doing so, we start to see life in a more balanced and less tumultuous way. Adjusting our perception allows us to live more harmoniously and be less affected by the unpredictability of circumstances. For example, if your partner ends a relationship, you could say they broke your heart, or you could accept that their feelings simply changed. This shift in perspective shapes our emotions. It is not the events themselves that trouble us, but how we choose to interpret them. Often, we fall into these emotional traps without even realizing it. The Stoics urge us to carefully evaluate each situation and every decision we make. Being careful involves questioning our own judgments. This means looking beyond first impressions and considering situations from a more rational and positive angle. For instance, you could view a boring evening as an opportunity to explore a new place and meet different people. Even if you don't connect with anyone, you won't start with negative expectations. Thus, it's important to learn to refrain from making judgments based solely on initial impressions and emotions to improve your overall perception of life. Every time you form an opinion, it's helpful to ask yourself, is this reasonable? What grounds did I base my opinion on? Is there a more positive way to look at this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that discomfort exists only insofar as we choose to interpret it that way. This means that any challenge you face will seem more difficult and negative only if you choose to see it as such. You control the impact circumstances can have on you. The Stoics also encourage you to view any negative aspect as a potential opportunity or advantage. As an exercise in adopting the Stoic perspective, try the obstacle to advantage challenge, which aims to turn barriers into benefits. For example, imagine a situation where a new colleague, still learning the ropes, makes mistakes that affect the company's profits. Naturally, you feel frustrated because this colleague seems like a hindrance to efficiency and productivity. However, you can also see this situation as an opportunity to cultivate patience, improve your teaching skills, and learn how to integrate new employees while managing workplace pressures. These skills are valuable in the long term and can increase future profits. In this context, Marcus Aurelius famously said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." So instead of making hasty judgments, it's useful to take the time to objectively observe things as they are. By doing this, you'll discover that life is simpler and clearer than you initially thought. Each situation offers the potential for both positive and negative interpretation. By training your mind to recognize this reality, you'll see how past difficulties lose their grip on you, and you'll progress forward. Lesson number 5: cultivate emotional mastery. For Stoics, managing emotions is key to maintaining a calm and rational mind. Impulsive emotional reactions can cloud our judgment, often leading us away from rational behavior. There's a reason for this. Our emotions can significantly cloud our reasoning. If your goal is to maintain constant mental clarity, mastering your emotions is an essential skill. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that anger, in particular, usually causes more harm than good. Contrary to popular belief, controlling emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. For example, if you feel intense anger over a betrayal, you won't be able to eliminate this feeling by denying it or pretending everything is fine. The anger will persist, regardless of your attempts to ignore it. According to Stoic philosophy, managing emotions like anger is achieved by redirecting them. The next time you feel angry, think about how you can use this energy productively. Yelling at the person who hurt you may feel satisfying at the moment, but will it really ease your pain or improve the situation? Will it lead to positive changes in the person who betrayed you? Instead of succumbing to destructive impulses, think about whether there are constructive actions you can take. A calm conversation with the person who hurt you, expressing your feelings and trying to understand their point of view may be more beneficial. Other strategies include journaling, physical exercise, or immersing yourself in a video game, activities that can help you channel your anger in a constructive way. The same applies to anxiety and fear. You can't simply suppress these feelings, but you can redirect them into something positive. Instead of letting anxiety paralyze you, use it as a motivator for action, acknowledging its presence every step of the way. For instance, if fear is stopping you from asking for a raise, instead of giving in to that fear, you could use the tension as motivation to better prepare for the request, turning anxiety into a catalyst for your personal growth. For many, fear is a reason to avoid certain actions, surrendering to anxiety. Others may prefer to push through, seeing anxiety as an obstacle to be overcome or ignored. However, these are not the only available options. Your fear can manifest in a healthy way and be transformed into something useful. For example, fear can activate internal alertness, prompting you to think about what might go wrong, which motivates you to anticipate potential questions from your boss and prepare counter-arguments. In this sense, fear can become a positive driver, a push forward, a challenge to grow and prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming your fears, not despite them, but because of them. The process of acknowledging your anxiety and recognizing the courage it takes to face a challenge can be surprisingly rewarding. When you learn to skillfully direct your strong emotions, you will become a calm person no matter what you face, and your emotions will no longer disrupt your clarity of thought or your ability to make the right decisions. Achieving inner peace and emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means understanding and redirecting them in a way that works for you. By doing so, you can use the energy of anger, fear, or anxiety to foster your personal and professional growth, facing challenges with a clear and focused mind. Thank you for watching this video. Like it if you enjoyed it, and I hope these tips will be useful to you. Share it with those who may need it, and offer your point of view in the comments, as wisdom must be shared in order to flourish. Write "I am Stoic" in the comments, and I'll know you made it to this point. Now, choose the path of Stoicism, right or left. I have 2 videos for you that you will enjoy. See you soon.